This is one of my favorite parts of the construction of the home right here. I always find it fascinating. Anyway, if you see what they're doing, we're building a basement here. This concrete on the ground, they build that in forms. That's called a footing. If you see, there's a trench in the footing. That sits in the middle of a poured concrete wall. So they put up these forms, pour the concrete. Concrete goes down into that trough, or that keyway, they call it, down the middle, and that keeps the wall from sliding and moving back and forth. Along with these steel rods are all inside the wall. If you look over here, what these gentlemen are doing, they're building steel grid with this, it's called rebar, reinforcing bar. These steel rods are going to be actually inside the wall and encased in concrete. So what we start with, they have steel rods actually stuck into the concrete. They're actually in the concrete and they're bent, so they're like L-shaped. So they're actually held into the ground by the concrete. Then they take, you see the shorter rods stick up, and they take the longer rods and they tie them with these wires called rebar tie. There's a stack of rebar ties. So they actually wrap those around. They wrap those around. They use a little tool. I don't know if you can see it. It just kind of spins. You move your hand in it and it ties the wire real tight. There we are. All right, we go. See this gentleman right here. He just takes the tool and spins it. So it's a rebar grid. And when they put these are 8-foot forms, but we're going to have a 10-foot basement. You can see those orange dots there, those spots, those are actually nails put in by the surveyor, so they know exactly where to run the wall. So you're going to put the wall in there. Actually, what he's measuring, he's going to pull the wall out a little bit because we're going to have brick here. So you have what's called a brick ledge, which is going to be some concrete that sticks out 4 inches so we can place brick on it for the brick siding. So this has to be done very precisely because if it goes wrong, it's really hard to fix. Now over there, we're going to have to build a retaining wall because you see how that dirt is up higher. But anyway, this is called a footing. That footing that goes from the ground up, that's called a vertical footing. That is concrete poured into the ground, and it's got steel rods that run the length of it for extra reinforcement, and that's what the house sits on and holds it. We have to dig down to solid soil, called load-bearing capacity soil, to hold the house up. And this is going to be a walkout basement, so that back footing, the slab's actually going to come out and sit on top of that. So it's just going to put some short form boards up, and you see them over there. Some of the things they have to be careful of. These forms are very expensive, so they have to keep them clean. And this company cleans their forms real well, and you can see the footing looks real pretty, real nice and neat, and that makes the whole house go a lot smoother. Now they did put some extra concrete here so we can put some cinder block for stairs. Footing, that's footing for the steps. And also that rectangle there is where the porch is going to be. So they're going to actually build us a ledge so that we can put a steel pan to pour our concrete on. This up here is going to be the garage. Now we're actually bringing the garage up 2 foot higher than the house because the way this ground slopes, it'd be very difficult to control the drainage. So we want to get that concrete slab up as high as we can. But that's subject for another video, but we want to make it as easy as convenient to get into the house. So this is very cool to see because we've got several months of planning and logistics to make all this happen. And this team has to be very coordinated to make sure it all comes out right. Anyway, we appreciate you watching our site. If you have any questions, please feel free to call us.